Is Doflamingo good against Katakuri? I definitely think so. Let's find out in round number 2 of Doflamingo versus Katakuri at my Wednesday night locals. We end up with a Perona on 1. Honestly, chef's kiss, one of the best turn 1 plays for Doflamingo in this current meta, OP07. Look at the top 5. I do see a Jinbei, which is pretty nice. There's a Jinbei on top, as well as a 2K Croc, a blocker Doflamingo, a Red Rock, and a Gecko Moria. That Red Rock is going to be potentially essential later to get rid of like a Big Mom or a 7 Mom, as those are kind of unkillable, and they cannot be gravity bladed. So going to go ahead and set it up to put the 2K on top, have the Jinbei be the card after, and then Doflamingo for turn, and then Moria into the draw. This is assuming that the opponent does manage to kill my Jinbei. If you kill a Jinbei, again, Jinbei, I can get it back, right? Moria can get Jinbei back into my hand, and then I'll play Jinbei out again. So it's just very solid. Putting on turn 1, Katakuri did elect to go second, so that way they're on their even Dawn turn, allowing them to go Big Mom on the turn that they want to go Big Mom, right? Instead of having that extra buffer turn. Katakuri is going to be swinging 7Ks at me. I'm going to be swinging 7Ks at Katakuri. It's going to be quite a wild game. We're going to go ahead and flip over a Jinbei. Jinbei is going to put something into play for my hand. Don't have a lot of great targets here. Probably just going to put that 2K Croc into play. It is a 5K versus the other 2K in my hand, which is a 4K. And opponent's going to go ahead and take it here. It is a trigger. They're going to go ahead and Thunderbolt Jinbei. And guess what? I have a Moria on top of my deck to get the Jinbei back. It's almost like I planned for this, right? Especially playing against yellow, just assume that you're going to potentially get triggered. Unfortunately, Doflamingo does attack first, right? Attack and then puts out something, and then the attack goes through. If Doflamingo hit first versus the thing coming out, potentially would have been able to save it there, but that's not how that works here. Gonna go ahead and swing. He's gonna go ahead and swing 7 at me. Look at the top of his life. Decide he wants to keep that on top, and then that is a 7K. I'm gonna go ahead and just take that as I don't have a lot of counter in hand. But managed to rip another Moria, so that Jinbei is definitely gonna be coming back here. Gonna go ahead and flip over here. We're on the 5 Dawn turn here. This is just a turn where we're going to potentially pressure here, so we could go 7K, 7K into the Katakuri. Katakuri did leave a card on top, so it does make me curious what it could potentially be here. Looking at the hand here, I think that's potentially the play. I know I have a Gecko on top. We're going to go and send 7. Always attack with your characters first into yellow, right, in case they hit a Nami, right, an Onami. Opponent already knew it was on top of their deck, knew that it wasn't a trigger, so they went and just took it. I'm going to go and swing 7. We're going to go and reveal the top card. It is a Moria. Moria's going to put that Jinbei back in hand. Typically, Moria is going to buy a 2K, but in this specific situation, it's going to buy me a nice little Jinbei, so that Jinbei could potentially come out again and potentially get me a 2K if I manage to counter out of something. He's going to go ahead and swing, or he's going to counter out of it. I do point out the Sanji. I've noticed a lot of Katakuris have stopped running that blocker Sanji that comes out on a trigger, but I still think it's a pretty good card. Honestly, like if you want to pick that card up, the alt arts for that card are really cheap right now. I think that the alt arts are like sub $10 for that Sanji, and that card was like a staple for a while. It could potentially come back if Katakuri needs room for it, but pretty solid card. Gonna go past to the opponents on their 6th Dawn turn here. They don't have a lot of interesting plays on the 6th Dawn turn, at least from my understanding here. Instead, they're just gonna go ahead and swing a lot. So they're gonna go and send 8 at Moria. I'm just gonna say, hey, yeah, that's fine. And he's gonna go ahead and swing a ton. I think that's just the other 9 at Croc. Croc is going to take it, and there goes my board there. I have been putting on a lot of pressure onto my opponent's life here, so I can understand the switch to start to handle my things here, but I have a Jinbei that I'm going to play out, and that Moria can get back that Croc 2K. I can also just like potentially do a blind attack for funsies. I don't know what the top of my deck is at this point. I believe I've seen all the cards. The Red Rock, I think, was the last card on top of my deck that I am aware of. I could also just play out the Doflamingo blocker and then get a guaranteed flip, right? Or I could just go for fun. I'm on my 7 Dawn turn. I could also bottom deck some things, but you know, pudding's not a great target. Paraspero is a fine target, right? Because Paraspero does have it on KO. But we could also just have some fun here, right? We could play out Jinbei, we could play out Moria, or we could play Jinbei into 3-cost Doflamingo, right? To set up the top of my life. But I think I'm just going to wing it. We're going to go crazy. We're going to go ahead and swing 7K. And what are we going to rip? We're going to rip a Jinbei off the top, blind flip That Jinbei is accelerating my plans here. We're going to play out a Doflamingo blocker. Doflamingo blocker is going to go ahead and look at the top 5. We're going to see what we got here. Oh, that is another. Oh my god, there was another Jinbei on top of my deck. That is crazy. We're going to go we're going to go ahead and switch up the order there. We're going to put that Weevil on top and then a Jinbei underneath it, right? So I can go Jinbei again. And I'm just going to keep filling the board here. So 7k, he does manage to trigger out a Shirahoshi, kind of filtering his hand a little bit here. But my board is steadily growing, Jinbei being an MVP here. And I believe I'll probably just end up playing the second Jinbei, basically going back up to 5 characters on board with a category going to 8 Dawn and only 2 life. And not a very good board, not a very strong board presence right now. Thumbing that Jinbei here. I think, you know, I think I just want to go. I think I just want a Jinbei again, right? We're Jinbei Town, Jinbei City. We're going crazy. Gonna go ahead and play at the morning. Gonna go ahead and get that 2k back to hand, baby. Oh, this deck is so much fun. I love Doflamingo, and it's gonna be even better when starter deck 17, 18, whatever it's called, comes out in November or October, one of the two. That's gonna be really fun because Doflamingo is getting a lot of new toys. 8 Dawn for Katakuri. They could Katakuri something, but my board is just so wide that it's pretty scary. And honestly, like, if he swings into my Jinbei with a lot of attack, right, committing some Dawn resources, I'm completely okay with that because I'm just going to let it die, and then I'm going to flip another Jinbei off the top of my deck. So it really doesn't matter at this point. Katakuri is getting thrown into the aggressive grinder right now. By the time they get to a Big Mom, it might already be too late. Big Mom is good, but Big Mom is only good when you don't have a bunch of aggressors on the other side of the field, right? Big Mom's good when you're already kind of ahead. Garatsu's going to go ahead and clean up a Jinbei. That's fine. I need room on board, right? We're going to get a Thunderbolt, trashing a Jinbei off the, or a Big Mom off the top. And then another swing here into my other Jinbei, trying to wipe 3 things off the board. That's quite a bit. That is a 7k going to the Jinbei. I have 2 2ks in hand. I'm just asking him how many cards he has in hand. I could 2k, 1k. I was asking because I had a pudding in my hand that I could potentially play, but I don't think I'm gonna take time to pudding that. He's just gonna swing both into Jinbei. I'm going to counter out of both, and we know that I'm getting a Weevil off the draw here, and I know that the Jinbei is going to be coming into play off the top of the library. We are on 9 Dawn turns, so we can't do both a leader effect attack and a bottom deck 2, but we could red rock one thing if we really wanted to. But we're gonna go ahead and start, and yep, we're gonna go ahead and just start committing. So we're gonna send 8k at life here, and there's an Onami into my blocker. Unfortunate, but not that big of a deal. It's kind of nice that I swung with Jinbei first instead of swinging with my Doflamingo, right? Because he could have eaten up the Jinbei, and that would have been one less attacker. We're gonna attach. Oh, we're just going heavy now. We're in a pretty favorable position where they can't kill us in the crack pack, so we might as well go 10, flip over a Jinbei. Jinbei gonna play out a Weevil. Weevil gonna draw me a card. That's another Mori to hand to pick up potentially another Jinbei, and that is a handful of absolutely 1k counter. The 6 cards in hand. Katakuri just bricking up really hard with a bunch of Big Bombs in hand and some Kiku Nojos. Very unfortunate for the Katakuri player. I just went, so fast. And yeah, that concludes round 2. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely feel free to subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching, everybody.